Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Welcome back,
Yeah.
traders. How are we doing today, guys? Happy Monday. Today we're going to be covering stock ticker AMC as well as a broad couple other stocks, right? GME, IWM, and then we'll cover NEO later. But I wanted to give you guys a technical update because you're still within the same formation on AMC, but you got some fantastic freaking news. So before we jump into that, guys, make sure to bang the freaking subscribe button and hit the like button. That way the algorithm can help pump this video up. But let's jump into the news, guys, because inflation fell to 3.5 in June, slowing more than expected from the 4.2 in May. That's huge, guys. Absolutely. I'm burping this up. Sorry. Absolutely substantial when you look at the potential for a Fed rate cut, right? I know we haven't talked about rate cuts in quite some time because there's been some not so bullish data coming out, but off of that ceasefire, you saw gas come down. Now, we knew the only real reason that CPI was coming back as a 4.2 was because gas nearly freaking tripled, guys. And now what you're seeing is gas come down a little bit. Why I'm worried? The reason I'm worried is you're seeing the Middle East come back up, right? You're seeing a lot of that stuff that could have been fundamentally good, like the ceasefire, come to an end. So you need to see some potential clarity from the U.S. president, Mr. Trump, going into Iran, hopefully going into August, right? Because if you get two back-to-back months that peel significantly in inflation, you could potentially see the conversation of a rate cut, right? And a rate cut would be exactly what AMC could need right now, and a lot of the smaller cap basket. That was our whole thesis behind small cap season, right? Or risk on season. So without further ado, guys, let's jump straight into the technical analysis. Make sure to slap this up and let's go. So you're still within this chopping channel, right? So what I'm finding here is you're just making lower highs and lower lows, and this is just bullish consolidation after seeing that 160 to 197 pop, guys. That 23% run, you're just having some bullish consolidation. Ew, our trend line is blue. Let's change that back to our crispy gold. And what I truthfully expect to happen, right? You're up 0.5% in pre-market to 188. And I think this is a little bit of a bear trap here if you can see pre-market get a little squeezy, right? Off of this news. And I think it came at the perfect freaking time, guys. Because you put in a shooting star candle, not just on the 30-minute, but also, where is it? On the 1 hour, right? That's not a great 1 hour candle to have. For me, that would instinctually mean that you're coming down to 181. But that freaking news, guys, that great DD, allowed us to have potentially a much better candle open, right? So now going to the daily time frame, you can see that you have closed directly above the 50-day EMA, traders. It's exactly where you're trading at 186, which is a beautiful freaking thing. And not that I didn't have anything to cover yesterday. I was a little busy, so drop some W's in the chat for your boy. But you printed a green freaking doji candle, guys, on the daily time frame yesterday after seeing that 0.5% down, and really mirrored yesterday's volume very closely at 24.2 million. This candle is 21.1, so barely a lower low in volume. But the important thing here, guys, is you're in consolidation that's bullish and you printed a green freaking doji. In my opinion, right, that means that the selling pressure is coming to an end and you're about to see your next leg up. If you cross green, right? If you break out of this formation, holding the 50 is the first step of doing that. The retest and then the close above is everything you wanted to see. Now you have the 200-day EMA trading right around 197, guys, which is not far away at all, right? If you see AMC begin to scale here and begin to pop off, ew, it's blue again. You could potentially see a breakout to about 204, a retest of the 200, and then you run, guys. And that is what we're hoping for this stock, because anything above the 200 becomes squeezy because you have literally never played with the 200 this long, right? You just haven't. We can go to historical relevance. We've done it many times, but in the past, guys, you have literally just rejected it and then retraced about 50 to 60%. You've now not just broken back above it once, twice, 3 times. You're going into your 4th test of the 200. That's significantly bullish in my opinion. It's changing behavior from what AMC is usually doing. So breaking out here would most likely get your daily MACD to cross up, showing that bullish momentum is up to the upside, right? And that's what we want as well. All right, yada, 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 yada. Weekly time frame, guys. Pretty much doing exactly what you want to see. Right, you close with a bullish hammer candle last week and then still consolidating. Nothing really new. You do have resistance right around 217, so we'll cover that when we get there. Monthly time frame, nothing really new. The quarterly time frame on Webull still remains intact, and we're going to cover it really, really quickly before we jump into trading view. But the quarterly time frame, guys, absolutely nasty, nasty business. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. Come on. Come on. Go, 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 go. There we go. All right, quarterly time frame. You had a bullish engulfing on the quarterly time frame, which is significant, guys. And in doing so, you got a cross on your quarterly MACD, showing that the long-term scale momentum is shifting in the bull's favor for the first time since 2021. And the market has many coincidences. I don't think that this is one of them, right? I really do believe that you potentially could get a risk on season, but I'm very worried, like I said, about this Iran war and about potential inflation increasing, because that bodes well for no asset, guys. Bodes well for absolutely no asset. So I want to see some more clarity come from that, because that is a potential risk to this AMC reversal. Going into trading view, you guys know my stance. I'm bullish as all get out, but looking at the RSI, because men lie, women lie, but the RSI does not lie, guys, and it's telling you a very interesting story here. You're seeing a higher low in this consolidation pattern, and you're about to test the 50 line and the RSI band. You need some strength and you need some volume to push above this, guys, because if you see a break of the 50 band, I'm just going to go ahead and assume you've already broken out here. The potential profit target or price that you could expect off of a breakout of this consolidation pattern is right around that 235 territory. What's significant about that? That tees you up if you see a rejection there for a shoulder, head, right shoulder. Now, we don't want to see that, of course, right? We want to see AMC get above this 222 level and just start to find price action, right? Price discovery into this gap fill that closes at 273. I think that is very, very doable. I think that's very, very likely if you get above this $222 territory. Because the last couple of RSI band crosses, you've seen monstrous moves, guys. Not to hype for nothing, but 13 days, 63%. This same one here was the bottom, and you crossed it right at the bottom. And you saw an 103% move, guys, in a very short time frame as well. So if you want to see AMC continue this pattern, you need to see volume, follow through, and a potential break of this consolidation pattern. On the weekly time frame, let's see. This is very, very important. Let's just take a little sippy whippy of our energy drink and jump straight into the video. So on the weekly time frame, guys, we'll delete some lines here. Delete some lines. On the weekly RSI, I want you guys to pay close attention. Yes, you are slightly below the RSI band. What's been the reaction? Minus 1%, right? In my opinion, you have the RSI band sloping up. It's not the worst case scenario in which you fall slightly below it, test the 50 band, and then bounce above both, right? That, traders, off of this key news, that's why I said this news came at the absolute perfect time. That is very, very possible here for AMC because you're looking on the weekly time frame, right? So you're just now coming into Monday. It's very possible that you see this thing kind of consolidate throughout the week. And then once we get our move outside of this channel, right, you could see this on the weekly reverse and look like a bounce, guys. And that is your most bullish opportunity, in my opinion. That is what I'm the most excited for, because a bounce off of this thing on the weekly time frame has almost never happened, except for here that I'm aware of. Last April, right, you saw this thing break out, retest, and spring, and that was a beautiful freaking move, guys. You made a higher low and saw a 60% run off of that, traders. That is a complete change of behavior for AMC. It almost never does it. So that's what I want to see for our girl Amy. Let's see. Let's just kind of look at the charts and see if we can find anything else to cover in the short term. You're above the RSI band on the monthly time frame. We haven't really covered it, but that is a very bullish sign. And last time you saw it was right about here when you thought 33% month. You've now seen 55, 13, and 9%. So you really obviously have the bullish momentum going for you here. But the 3-month, guys, where is it? Where are you? There you are. You have not gotten above this RSI band in the 3-month since 2021. And you now are close, right? You're about to kiss on this RSI band, which is fascinating to me, right? Crossing above it gave you a 381% quarter alongside your quarterly MACD cross. Well, you already got one in your favor. If you can get both, it's pretty much stars align, right? So that's something I'll be watching very closely. If AMC can continue starting to push the $3.18 to $4 territory in the short term, it's likely you get that cross and that bullish momentum potentially push you into this 566 test, guys. That 566 test is going to be absolutely massive. Get above 566, it brings you to 706. Get above 706, that brings you to 1052. Get above 1052, and that takes you into your freaking gap fills on the daily traders. And this is how exciting I think AMC is for a lot of you guys, because if you can see an absolute albeit squeeze or just momentum to the upside, you could see this thing start to check a lot of these boxes, getting up to $12 gap fill, 1940 gap fill. And then your all-time freaking gap fill traders at 43.32. And you guys are probably going to be saying, absolutely not, Trap. That is not in the realm of possibilities. Well, traders, get above $10 and you see how fast the liquidity moves, right? Look at this bottom here. 1,000% move in less than a month, right? And that is from 10 all the way up to 100. Look at this, also very similar run, right? From 50 all the way down to $7 freaking bucks. And particularly 10 was the fastest moving in less than a month. If you get back above this $10 territory, you see how little volume is traded here. It's likely, in my opinion, for you to go on an absolute mission gap hunting as soon as you are above this all-time freaking downtrend. And this is what I'm trying to outline for people, is that if you are in this falling wedge formation, the tactical profit target is not just a little squeeze, right? It's not just a little move. It is the January plus June freaking run. Placing that on top of the breakout, wherever it may be, right? Maybe you fall all the way back down to a new all-time low and you break out sometime in 2027, right? That still takes you up to your gap fills at $56. Whether or not that happens, TBD, right? You're going to have to wait and see. But truthfully, I do believe the best is yet to come on this company. I think you are doing some great things with resolving the debt, raising the capital to do so. It just takes time, right? No one that I have seen wants to short this thing, as your short interest remains right around 8% after seeing a 50% slide, right? looking at this thing, if you were to break soon, it's right around that $3 territory, right? 318 is what we've called on this channel many times. But this uptrend breaking above that and holding it pretty much leads to a breakout of both. So that'll be very important once we get there. I think let's take a little peeky weeky at IWM. Do not click off the video. It's important for AMC and GameStop as well. But IWM seeing a little bit of a rounding top formation here. I love that the news has been a bullish catalyst to get IWM up $2 already in the pre-market, making a little bit of a bear trap here on the smaller index. But you do have this kind of shoulder, head, right shoulder formation that I'm watching. If you break back above here, I think you're probably going to another all-time high, and that would be a bear trap, traders. But if you don't, right, just precaution yourself because you could slide all the way down to 290, break this uptrend, and you're going to the 50-day EMA that I think sits very close to that uptrend. Man, that quarterly candle is nasty. Nasty. 21% quarterly is crazy, man. But yeah, your 50-day EMA sitting right around 287. And if you break below this and continue to see selling pressure, which I don't think is likely off of that news, it's very, very possible you come all the way back down to 287, break 287. You're looking at 263, guys. A long slide to the 200-day EMA. On this freaking thing, seeing potential gap fills along the way, potentially at 252.88 is your lowest one right now. Beyond that, guys, let's just cover straight in to the one, the only, can't stop, won't stop, GameStop, baby. At 22.03, you saw some nice price action on Friday. Seeing a little bit of a push up off of that potential bottoming formation here, right? That horizontal support, seeing a nice 2% candle on the 4-hour chart, but you rejected right where we thought you would, right? Right off of this downsloping resistance. Not breaking above this thing is breaking my heart every single freaking time. And we're just going to have to see how this thing pans out, right? You're still in this shoulder, head, right shoulder kind of formation as you came down pretty much perfectly to that 2150 territory that we had, created a bullish hammer candle, and have seen a nice bounce off of it since, right? You're already up from the low 3% at the max, almost 4%, right? So TBD, it's going to be interesting to see what you do on GameStop and what drives that fundamental price action. On the daily time frame, guys, I think this is the most exciting part of it all. Not sponsored. Aldi, Watermelon Waves energy drink, $1, $1.14, I think. Freaking phenomenal. But looking at GameStop now, looking at the shoulder, head, right shoulder, you've done something absolutely phenomenal. And I did not cover this in my last video, but I did cover the fact that on the daily time frame, you were at some point during this right shoulder run significantly above this 50 line and the RSI band. And what led to that nice freaking move was getting above the RSI band. Like, look at this move, right? Marked your bottom above the yellow band and ran 10%. Like we said, men lie, but the RSI band does not lie. You came all the way back down after making bearish divergence, right? Lower high, but a higher high on the RSI. The RSI does not lie, guys. Then look what you did, right? You came all the way back down, rejected the RSI band, and then fell further. What are you doing now, right? You're seeing a nice little pop, a nice little freaking run above the RSI band, potentially getting above that 50 line. That would lead to some crazy, crazy price. In my opinion, likely breaking this neckline at 2250 and leading to a beautiful week on GME. If you're able to do it, right? If you see this wick continue to come down, it's likely you make another low along $20 freaking dollars. But I don't think that's likely, traders. I think is very similar to this, right? You had a double bottom formation on the RSI, double bottom formation in the RSI. This was a double bottom formation in the RSI. This was a double bottom formation in the RSI. You're seeing a very similar trend here that when GME makes these double bottoms, it's going to seek higher prices. Now from that, right, this thing could go absolutely crazy because breaking out of this thing, whatever the hell you want to call that, gives you technical profit target of that. Right? That takes you upwards of 27 freaking schmeckles, which kind of revitalize, gives new life to the GME warrants, which we can talk about in 1 second, because those contracts, right, the expiry in October is entirely reliant on GME having a higher price action. So it would make a lot of sense for market makers to pump this thing higher if you wanted to get an absolute dirt cheap price on the GME warrants. But until we see some kind of further clarification on what this stock is going to do with this eBay acquisition, it's very possible that you see it continue to trade sideways until that news breaks, right? But like we said, this thing breaking here could be pretty monstrous move. Would not be surprised to see it. GameStop is much overdue for something squeezy like this. Weekly time frame. Come on, baby. Weekly time frame. All right. Let's cover this. Let's see. So on the weekly, you rejected the 50 line and the RSI band. And that was all the way back here, late June. We covered that because that was your bearish scenario on GameStop. But the more you zoom out, traders, the more clarity you get. You're in a bullish pennant. You're in a bullish continuation formation. And I think that that is actually so exciting. Because when you take the formation, it's a full flagpole. You put that on top of the breakout wherever it may occur. And that gives you a monstrous move all the way up to your previous all-time highs. Whether or not that happens, guys, TBD, right? There's so much things that you have to watch with GameStop. So many things that you have to watch with GameStop. But the setup technically is there. So I figured I'd cover it for you guys. Worst case scenario, right? You come back down to this newfound uptrend that you tapped back in July 2024. Back in November 2025 and December 2025. That would bring you right around 2058, depending on where you tap the freaking thing. But that would be a huge potential opportunity on GameStop, as you've seen some monstrous moves, right? 83%. What is this? 20%. And then this one was 35%, right? So each move in itself is getting a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller as you continue to constrict into this 2-year consolidation pattern, guys. When these long scale pennants break, typically you see big moves, big rips, retest, and then bigger rips, right? So that is what we're watching for. If this catalyst, right, this eBay acquisition can come back as significantly positive, guys, that is the most exciting thing in my opinion. On the monthly time frame, big fat nothing burger. Big fat nothing burger. Let's delete some of these lines. I would say that probably the most exciting thing that you have on GameStop that no one really talks about is this uptrend on the RSI, right? This uptrend goes all the way back from the January squeeze to the April squeeze to now, right? And you've seen monstrous moves every single time you've tapped this. I guess you could call that an almost tap, right? You almost got there, but you faked it out. You went higher after not tapping it. You're in or coming into this trend line now again. Or maybe you've already tapped it, right? You've come very close, right? You could arguably say that's a tap, but you want to hold this trend line on the monthly, right? Losing this trend line could mean a test of 2058 or potentially a break of this uptrend. And then our whole bull pennant thesis goes down the can, right? But this trend line on the monthly time frame is what you want to watch as you continue to constrict over this 2-year period. Getting above the 50 line on the monthly time frame would mean bullish price action. And you're really constricted, guys. You have until pretty much March to February of next year to see a decision point on this. I think you're going to see it much before that, personally, because the pennant ends theoretically, December 2026, guys. That is the furthest you can trade and chop sideways into this thing before you see either a break of significant resistance or a breakdown of significant support. So I think that's all I got, traders. I just want to say thank you, each and every single one of you guys who have been reaching out, supporting the channel, becoming members, subscribing, and sharing the videos along the way. It's always been a pleasure for me, guys, to bring this to you. So I'm going to keep doing it, try to be here every single day. Until next time, traders, God bless each and every single one of your families. And remember, the best is yet to come. Let's freaking go, baby.